I don't know, you guys might be in for a little bit of a rant here. I'm going to try to keep what I have to say brief, but it's kind of a complicated issue with a lot of different facets, and my mind is easily pulled in 1,000 directions by my very nature. Let me tell you about a situation that atheists often find themselves in, and it's a very awkward situation to be in. Imagine you're an atheist if you're not. And you got a friend who's a Christian, and this Christian friend, they lose someone that is dear to them dies. And then your Christian friend comes to you and says, yes, my grandfather or my mother or my cousin or my pet is now in heaven, looking down at me, smiling. So good to be in heaven. Yes, it's good to be in heaven, yes. If you're an atheist and you find yourself in that situation, what do? What can you possibly say? Do you tell your friend the truth? That grandma ain't in heaven, and she ain't in hell, and she ain't fucking anywhere because she's fucking dead? Do you be the buzzkill that throws your friend into a deeper depression by collapsing the fucking house of delusional cards that they have built to protect themselves from the cold, harsh truth? Who knows what to do, right? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I'm of two minds about the whole thing. On one hand, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, especially when they've just lost somebody. But on the other hand, I just don't want to fucking lie. Let me talk a little bit about death. I believe that when I die, I will cease to be. I will no longer exist in any way. I will be as I was before I was born, which is to say, completely non-existent. And while I do think that, you know, some of the things I've created will linger in the world for a time after I die, some of the people who knew me will remember me for a while after I die, but I think that ultimately I will be forgotten and all traces of me will be erased. I might just be a name in a ledger or two here and there, but for the most part I think I will be gone and irrelevant. Now there was a time when we didn't understand what death was. We didn't have science to investigate why a body was moving around and talking 1 minute, and then it was not moving around and not talking and getting cold and rigid and then decomposing the next minute. We didn't really know why that happened. We assumed that whatever we were something that inhabited this body for a while, but then when this body stopped working, we kind of, you know, just shed it like a snake shedding its skin or a butterfly shedding its cocoon, and we just kept on going. But now we understand, or at least some of us understand, that what we are is contained right in here. And when the gears in here stop turning, the factory is closed. That is what we've come to understand using science. And science really has been the savior of humanity that religion constantly promised it would be. Religion promises people that it's going to alleviate their suffering here on earth, but it's never really done much to that effect. Whereas science, yeah, science has. Science gave us modern architecture so we could build our nice houses. It gave us refrigeration systems so we could keep our food cold. It gave us food distribution networks and new agricultural techniques so that we could feed an ever-expanding population. Now that's not to say that science doesn't have its dark side. Science has taught us how to overexploit our environment. Science has taught us how to split the atom. And, you know, in splitting the atom, we kind of became God. Because the most incredible thing God did in all of the Bible, other than creating the world, was laying siege to cities, just single-handedly smiting cities from the world. And now, mankind has that power. We have the nuke. We can blow the fuck out of any city at any goddamn time we want to. But the moment we acquired that technology, we were being put to a test. And the test was, Are you wise enough not to use this now that you've discovered it? And we did use it. So we failed the test. And now we're living on borrowed time. Because there's countries all over the world with nuclear arsenals, and eventually it's gonna fucking happen. It's gonna be all-out nuclear war, and it's gonna be goodbye, human fucking race. And then we'll all be forgotten. Even the men whose names did ring out through history, the Einsteins and the Shakespeares, all those big important people who we thought made such a terrific contribution will be forgotten like the rest of us. And eventually there will come a time when every last vestige of the human race has been erased, and the universe will have forgotten us entirely. There will be no sign that we ever existed at all. I mean, at least that's what I think is probably going to happen. I could be wrong, but that's my general sense of mortality, both of myself and of my fellow people and of my species as a whole. I think that every person on this earth is going to die, and I think that eventually the entire human race will become extinct. You know, I guess that if I have one article of faith, it's that it's better to know the truth than not to know the truth. I think that we can just take a look at all the things that knowledge has given us, even though it might have also given us the keys to our own destruction. I mean, our destruction is inevitable no matter what. But when we look at the ways that technology has alleviated suffering, when we look at the ways that we have applied knowledge and understanding to situations to produce a better outcome, I think it's very difficult to argue that it's not better to know the truth. Even in the face of death, I think that it's better to know the truth. And I will not hold my tongue just because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. You know, as awful as I might feel, it's just a fucking matter of principle. So when your friend comes to you and tells you about how their grandpa or their grandma or their mom or their brother or their cousin or their pet or their friend or their friend's cousin's pet, when they tell you that they're up there in heaven, say, no, they're not. There is no heaven. They're dead. They don't exist anymore. And it's okay for that to be the saddest thing in the world. It should be. Don't try to make yourself feel better with a lie. Face the truth. But you know what? If you're put in that situation and you're looking in that person's eyes and you just can't bring yourself to say that, if it's just easier in the moment to lie to them, then don't feel too bad.